What's going on, guys? I want to welcome you back to the Snapchat. Today, we're going to be talking about potentially one of the best activate cards to come to the game, which isn't that hard. There's not that many good ones. But on that is Fenris Wolf worth getting. If you like Destroy, if you like Discard, if you want a new tech card, is this one worth the grab? Especially because we have so many new cards coming down the line with December and January finally revealed with a Marvel Rivals collab. Alex and I are going to break down all those cards and which ones we think you should save up for. On top of that, we're going to talk about Thanos' buff, all the meta nerfed, and the OTA that we had this week. We've got a lot to talk about on this episode of the Snapchat. And as always, I am joined by the one and only Mr. Alex Coccia on this lovely Monday. And I'm sure you guys have already, your eyes have been stained by it already, but we have to open up as we go into what was a crazy week for Snap. Obviously, a lot of new cards announced. We're going to break those down. The OTA, the first Super Sized OTA. Did you ever see the movie Super Size Me?
I did a long time ago. It's essentially how I live my life right now. Just fast food, 3 meals of the day. Hey, and if they ask, no one asks me to get supersize things anymore. No one says that. I've never been asked to supersize anything.
I don't think I do supersize. I think that's just like a medium nowadays. All I know is it made me more hungry. Like I think it was supposed to make me not like it, and then I liked it more. Anyway, sidetracked, and I'm getting hungry. Let's talk about the fight, man. If you guys did not get honestly, if you missed it, you're a winner. You're actually the winner of today. We had Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, which was a promise to be greatness. Seeing someone like Mike Tyson, one of the legends in the sport, against Jake Paul. What did you think?
What did I think? Oh man, okay. Now you're opening up a can of worms. How much time do we have? Okay, first of all, just so you know, the way it worked was I didn't even realize this fight was. I had heard about it, stuff like that, but I got caught with the hype like on the day of. And so I was with my wife, and I somehow convinced her that, like, hey, we should watch this. It's going to be cool. It's Iron Mike Tyson. He's going to fight this YouTuber guy. Wouldn't you want me to fight Mike Tyson? She's like, yeah, I'd pay to see that. And then anyways, long story short, the stream was, like, completely broken. I couldn't watch anything. Awful. And I think this is pretty universal. Like, I thought it was just, like, the Canadian internet was just broken. And even, like, okay, Netflix legitimately tried to gaslight me into thinking that my connection sucked. And I was like, dude, no, your errors are like brutal. They're like, oh, check your internet connection. I'm like, bro, you check your internet connection because I'm fine.
No, the best
we
thing
ended
I
up
saw...
watching, oh, dude.
What'd you watch?
So bad. What did we watch? We couldn't get the connection to go, so we had to watch what my wife chose, which was Love is Blind. I honestly, dude, the amount of cringe was unbelievable.
The prep of the night to get ready to sit down and be like, okay, we're watching the fight. Gonna watch some guys beat each other up. And then you skirt to Love is Blind is like Die Hard over to Sesame Street. And I appreciate, I mean, hey, I like the flexibility there. I think you could have watched this fight. You could have watched Mike Tyson's fights in the 80s better than the quality of the 180p that we were experienced. But I did hear Jake Paul on his win, his next opponent, Joe Biden.
I honestly, if that's true, that is, if you thought Netflix servers were going to crash with this one, yeah. they don't stand a chance when Joe Biden gets in the ring. You know what? Honestly, those press conferences would be absolute fire in advance too.
I got the money line on Joe, that's for sure. Anyway, we got lots to break down. Listen, we're going to be talking a whole lot of Snap, a little bit of Rivals as that's teased next season, and a whole lot more. What are we talking about on your side of the Snapchat, Alex?
Cozy, on my side of the Snapchat, we're going to be doing a full review of Malekith, letting you know whether you should be using your Spotlight keys or your tokens on the new card, available still today for watching this pod on Monday at least. And then we're going to be talking about the tech cards of Marvel Snap. We're going to be doing a tier list, top 10, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be talking about the best cards in Marvel Snap from a tech perspective. And then, as always, a Snapchat mailbag. We got tons of fun questions for Cozy on this mailbag, by the way, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh man, I am looking forward to it too. I can't wait to see what the viewers had to say. Well, over here, man, we might as well get right to it. We got Fenris Wolf, and it is a 2-cost 3-powered card. The first activate in a while. Activate, resurrect your opponent's highest powered discarded or destroyed card to your side of this location, and that is pretty exciting stuff, man. I think this is going to be a very unique card to come to the game, but also a lot of mixed feelings on it. I think as this card has aged, I've gotten a bit more excited for it. Activate, always got to be a bit reserved on my immediate hype as some of them have not delivered. I think it's funny. We saw Black Widow get a activate, and people are like, yeah, that's how they nerf cards now. They give it activate when we had so much promise on it. But with that, we got the Spotlight Week, Annihilus, Werewolf by Night. It's fine. I'm not crazy about it. I think it's you don't have a Nihilist and you get him and then you get Fenris, like it's not the end of the world.
I was thinking about this, right? Like, okay, so Annihilus, I think, is a card everyone has to have in their collection. I feel like Annihilus's time's going to come back. It has to. Like, it's a great archetype defining card, but when they changed Viper, it became so much less necessary. Yeah. And then also the nerf to Sentry was felt really extreme as well. And so, like, could they potentially consider making Sentry back up to a 10 power that also gives it synergy with Surtur? Because, you know, synergy with Surtur is needed right now because the card, I can't even joke about it. But anyways, let's continue the discussion. And Werewolf by Night, okay, this might be a hot take, but I think I've discovered, despite the fact that Werewolves by Night's stats might be in the positive, it might be a well-statted card, it might do well from a win rate perspective. I just don't like the card. Like, I just don't like playing Werewolf by Night, and I think that's okay. I'd rather play the Hitmonkey based decks if I'm going to be playing Bounce rather than Werewolf by Night. But overall, I think that Spotlight Cash is worth it if you don't have these cards.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is I think Gore might have some decent synergy with Werewolf by Night because you do have like an on-reveal deck. So maybe you got something cooking there and you get the Wolf really big, and then you play Gore as your final play. Like maybe, but is there enough there to get that done? We'll have to see. That's kind of like my one case if you don't have them. But let's talk about the Wolf. And I want to do things a little bit different today. I want to kind of divide it because we have discard synergy. We're going to have destroy stuff. We're going to have some basic stuff. And so instead of just rambling a bunch of stuff at you guys, want to kind of keep it more in line so you guys can track it depending if you like one archetype over the other. But Alex, I know, listen, people have their opinions on the card. You certainly have yours. Let's hear it. What's the star rating?
I'm staying with 4. I know that this card it's kind of seeking very different opinions. People are high, people are very low. It feels like no one's really in the middle. I think this is a good card. I think it's pretty strong. I think the stats are fine. I think its ability is strong. I like the fact that it's an activate, to be honest with you, as opposed to like a non-reveal. I think the activate's much stronger. Yes, a little weak on turn 6, but you could literally play it down on turn 2 and hold it until the end of turn 6 to capitalize on what you've done, because it's going to resurrect the highest power. So when you use cards and when you destroy things through the course of the game, that highest power card can change, allowing the activate ability to capture the biggest opportunity made available to it. So I actually like the activate line on this. I'm sticking with 4 stars, Cozy.
Yeah, I think this is when I say it's a tough one to evaluate, I want to see it played into motion and how all that works. I mean, my gut says 3.5 now, and it's a card, the reason we talk about cards aging well is because there's merit to it. Scar was probably the best example of a card we said is going to be aging well, and there's obviously cards of destruction, 10 plus power cards, discard stuff that will be coming in the future that will make Fenris obviously that much better. So I got about a 3.5 right now that he'll continue to get better, and I also think this week might be a little bit tough as people kind of prep for this card a tad bit. Yeah, a little bit obvious on what you're doing on 6 if that is the turn you do decide to resurrect on. But I love that, there are some activate cards if you play it on 5, like you can get it to work, but you really want to play it early. We know right off the bat, low-cost activate cards are so much better. Like if Black Widow, which we'll talk about later, was a 2-cost, would have been that much better. Once we get to 3 and beyond, really 4 and up is where they really start to lose their luster, if you will. So Fenris being a 2 has a lot going for it. Discard, destroy. Where do you want to start? Do you want to go destroy first, as that's a bit more, I would assume, obvious, or discard?
We can go destroy first, sure. I got notes for both. I think both have potential, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really exciting about the card. It could be a tech card, number 1, great tech card. Number 2, you got some synergy with 2 archetypes that are doing well, and overall that people just love, right? So let's get to destroy first, man. And listen, this is going to not only be a card that you can what's up, Malekith? We'll talk about him later. This will not only be a card that you can play to attack against destroy, but there's some really neat synergy with specific destroy cards, Alex. So let's start with your side, man. What do you got for us? What card do you want to bring up first?
You know what? I want to talk about Gladiator. I had a lot of thoughts about Gladiator lately, and I was thinking about what could lines look like for Gladiator being successful? Now, obviously, with Surtur in the deck, Gladiator has been in the meta has been a much more of a risky proposition. However, it has the potential to, at minimum, destroy cards within that 7 power range, which, if brought back by Fenris, is a pretty decent stat line. If you consider it's a 2/3, it's bringing something back, could potentially be like a 2/10 with the Gladiator. Of course, he can whiff on the effect, and perhaps you have some backup plays for that. But I also think you could even go a little further. You could consider something like a Forge on turn 2, a Gladiator on turn 3, extending the reach to 10 power, and then playing Fenris on turn 4 alongside another card. But then you get the risk of, well, Alex, now that activate coming out on turn 4 or turn 5 feels much worse, which we're starting to really see now, right? It's what you alluded to prior. So I think Gladiator is potentially, in terms of like an offensive deck, a synergistic card.
Yeah, so when it comes to the Wolf, right, in my head, it's like, okay, I'm just going to call him the Wolf. When it comes to him, it feels like one of those cards, in a sense, we use this term a lot, but kind of like Dracula, right, where you're going to set him down, that's going to be your setup lane, right? You feel good about it, that's your lane that you plan on winning, and so you don't want to you don't want to send too much backup to that lane because, well, you hopefully are going to do what you need to do there. And I think the optimal strategy is having your Fenris Wolf lane, and then you're going to have the lane that you're going to try to flip and then add to that, right? And those are the two wins, and then maybe you can land something else. I like Gladiator. I think, there are certain less precise cards that just offer a lot of fun and what you might be able to get out and get on their side. Gladiator, definitely one of them. There's some more discard ones that kind of fit his mold. And I think that he could kind of work into this deck that could ultimately work. I mean, obviously, I want to talk about more. We'll get right to what obviously, this is going to be the highlight of the card, the Shang-Chi, right? So, obviously, Shang-Chi is the answer to the 10+ power cards, right? This is going to be the predictable turn 6 play, but maybe earlier. I think that's what's really cool about it. Having that turn 2 play, playing Fenris as fast as you can. Shang-Chi right off the bat, so you flip the lanes. You have the big card in your lane now, and you're able to kind of work the later turns better. I like a lot, rather than always holding it for a turn 6. But to your point, I know you wanted to say, so I appreciate you not. If you're Gladiator and it's a 10+ power card, well, then, you're setting this guy up for the home run, the T-ball, if you will, right? So I really enjoy, I think that's just going to be your baseline decks, and you work from there, and Shang-Chi obviously being the best synergy with him, probably.
And I like the idea that with Shang-Chi, especially if you're playing on turn 6, you're actually functionally attacking two separate locations. Yep. Because you punch out a 10 power plus card on one location and you bring it back on another with Fenris, you should be trading effectively. What's interesting to think, though, is that if people see Fenris Wolf out there, they're going to assume you have Shang-Chi. Like, you'd be crazy to not run the cards together. And as a result, they're going to be anticipating that play. And so cards like Cosmo, Armor, and others might suddenly become very strong plays early on, especially in decks like Erisham, which are having a resurgence, where they have that extra mana to play with, right? So like I've been really thinking about like what those turn 6s look like and how predictable the Shang-Chi play is, because its synergy is so obvious with Fenris. And so I'm glad we got it out of the way, because obviously it's a card that everyone's going to talk about. But again, I think that Shang-Chi's kind of like the home run hit in a lot of ways. Yeah, you punched out their Red Hulk, and then you brought it back on the other side, and they floated energy or whatever, right? Like that's all gravy, right? But I think there's other cards that, can have not the craziest pop-off effect. Remember, we're talking about a 2/3 here. It already has a really strong stat line, and Lizard's a 2/5. And so let's say you Yondu and you hit an Iceman. That's not good, but technically still a 2/5, right? Yeah. In terms of overall power. So while we get really fixated on the top end, we can't forget that even on the lower end where things don't work as well as maybe you'd like to see, you still have some decent power output here.
Yeah, I think week 1, we're going to see a lot of the high-end stuff. I think we typically see this in the more fancy stuff. But I agree, as this card ages, I think just getting the value play might be best. Maybe not always the Iceman, but definitely like it doesn't have to be the home run 10 power flip, right? And there's a couple of those. But yeah, if you get just the on reveal ability of a nice little, curve play, it's like, that's obviously going to be pretty advantageous. What I think is probably the coolest about this card is that, and what makes it good, potentially great, is that there's no randomness. Number one, it's the highest power destroy or discarded option. It's not a random one that would make it way worse, right? And then number 2, it's on this side location, right? You're going to destroy the card to your side of this location. I mean, clearly having a plan of where that card's going to go. If that was a hella, like a random, this card goes down significantly because you just cannot plan for it to any regard. So I love the consistency you can pull off. And because it's the highest, I think it's super interesting. Yeah, we said the Shang-Chi play. It's like, it's super cool that in this bounce meta, or we've been in this almost a year now since Nebula's arrival. Nebula, Sunspot, the bounce cards, Rocket, Sable, who just got nerfed, but Sable, taking one of those ones that they've built up so much with a card like Killmonger that could be played in any lane is awesome. I mean, that's such an easy way to win 2 lanes. The flip, you have the Fenris resurrect, and then Killmonger is just to support the lane that, maybe that Sable was in or whatever. That's such a huge power swing, man. You're playing 5 cost for essentially with Fenris and this for potentially 6 power baseline plus whatever it might be.
Yeah, and if you're Killmongering their entire board, you've likely won already. So it's so Fenris is such a major kind of insult to injury. But yeah, you're right. Like, I think the thing that kind of kept me up high on Fenris Wolf was the idea that, like, a lot of these cards are cards, you want to have in your deck anyway. Like, obviously not Gladiator and Yondu that we were discussing prior, but Killmonger, Shang-Chi, and others, these are cards you're teching in regardless. These are some of the most popular cards in the game for a reason. And the result is that you often have a massive power swing, and then Fenris Wolf is just the icing on the cake that seals the deal, right? And so that's why I think the card does have a relatively high ceiling with what it can do power-wise, because you're playing cards that you would have been playing anyways, and it almost would fit in a wide variety of different archetypes, because these cards fit in a wide variety of different archetypes as well.
Yeah, for sure. And there's only a few more. Like, I do like the Gladiator stuff, and I like the Yondu and stuff, but those are like, I've seen the angle of going the mill route and then plugging them in there, which is definitely something you could do. It's a different build. But yes, you've got the Killmonger, you've got the Shang-Chi, and then the other ones that I think potentially could float into more of these kind of catch-all builds. Number one, we've talked about it as a card that's disrespected. I think Negasonic has a real potential here. Now, depending on the meta, depending on the deck, this card goes up and down. But the idea of being able to get that extreme value and not even really caring all that much what it is, I think this is kind of a nice curve play to go into Fenris 2-3, see what happens after there. Or just my favorite is doing the quick scope out of Negasonic. They never saw it coming, and then you can take it. Don't have to worry about the Shang-Chi. A little bit cheaper. Alex, so I want to ask you about Lady Deathstrike, because to me, this is the ability stealer, right? Like, obviously, you're not going to be getting anything big power-wise, but this is where you can take an Iron Man, damn it. And potentially, if that was the only card there, snipe that, which is a huge flip.
Yeah. You could even kill your own Fenris Wolf. That would be the absolute power
sweet
play. That's the flex we're all looking for. Yeah, LDS, every time I've played LDS, I get excited. I got this really nice variant of her, and I'm like, oh yeah, this card's gonna be great. And then there's never a target for her. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on right now. Like, it never feels like it's a very awkward card to play. However, when it hits, and it's a huge snap condition. And you're right, you're gonna be wiping out a lot of power. But then again, at the same time, like, yeah, you might destroy the Iron Man. But if so much as a Iceman was present with that Iron Man, or whatever else, Zabu was in that lane, then suddenly, because of the power difference, you're bringing back Zabu. So it's like, because she has such a wide breadth of an impact, it can be detrimental to your opponent's game plan. But I feel like maybe it's casting a wide net that's too wide for something like Fenris. Whereas, like, with the Shang-Chi, you've destroyed their monster from Monster Island. You're getting 10 power back. Whereas LDS might be a little more difficult to reliably hit. And I think that's maybe just the card itself, right? Like, it's been wild, because, like, we can't forget that, like, Lady Deathstrike got nerfed, right? She got buffed once and then became very meta relevant. They're like, whoa, we're bringing it back here a little bit. And so I almost wonder if you're right, and Fenris could be a very natural place for Lady Deathstrike, especially since before we were saying that at the end of the day, like, even if you destroy something with 3 or less power, Fenris in effect is still a 2/6.
I mean, with Agent Venom's nerf too, nerf but buff, but nerf in the sense of giving the power, it's 3 or less. That gets Lady at least in the realm of those decks, which I did like. I think actually this whole patch was actually a good Lady Deathstrike patch. But I do understand your points about her as a card. What I think is interesting about Destroy is not exactly all of the, obviously it's a tech to playing Destroy, but I also think it's crazy the other tech options that Fenris serves as. We said it's a tech card a bit, right? So I want to dive into that. Obviously Hella, and we can talk about that more on the discard route, where you're going to steal this. And I want you guys to remember, when you take that, Hella card that was discarded, you're taking it. They don't have the option. There's only one. You can't share these cards, right? So you're taking that on your side. But man, the other options that I was like, I don't know if people are fully thinking about it. You get complete tech against Arnim Zola. It becomes way more risky to do the Arnim Zola, because you're essentially, if they did that to Black Panther, you're going to have that same play on one lane at least, because it's going to, double up in value. But Alex, Phoenix Force and Misery, Those are the three that I'm like, Phoenix Force probably the most because you're stealing what they were going to res. That's probably the biggest counter. But I love this as a tech card because of that.
Yeah, it's funny because like when I first took a look at Fenris Wolf, I didn't actually identify it as a tech card per se, because I think that its application is narrow. But when you're in those matchups, it is absolutely soul crushing if you see a Fenris Wolf on the other side of the board and you are holding a Phoenix Force style play. Now, it's the only thing you can kind of go back on is to say, okay, well, they are going to resurrect the multiple man. Right. So like they're bringing back multiple man that might not be particularly useful because you're going to res it and then Phoenix Force will do the movement and stuff like that. But with Misery, you're probably playing cards with high impact.
You steal it
like,
though. Hold on.
Reveals.
You steal the multiple man. They can't bring it back. So you steal it before they can do it because you're taking that from their destroyed graveyard. They don't get access to it. When he brings something back, it belongs to Fenris at that point.
Whoa, I didn't realize that. So what you're saying is it
100%.
leaves their graveyard completely. Like it's no longer available. I did not realize that.
Resurrect your opponent's highest power discarded or destroyed card to your side, right? So you're taking, it's the same as Hela. That's why I was bringing up Hela earlier. If they go on a discard spree, you can effectively steal that Infinite. It's not make a copy of it. You're taking it from there. So it's like you can
I had not realized that.
Yeah, that's like the tech. That's why Phoenix Force, it's a direct counter, and it's a 2, so you can play it kind of on curve to steal that per se. So like you're taking it from that pile, which I think is insane. And I'm like 99.9% confident in that. That's just how it's like Ghost Rider, right? If you don't have anything left, there's nothing to take.
That's true. Yeah, Ghost Rider would be exactly that. You are right. I just had not actually considered that particular interaction. And you're right. So if that's the case, then its tech like versatility does increase significantly. Like for me, like obviously it's a massive tech card against discard, right? Because every time they discard Apocalypse per se, like you're just getting the benefit. But I had not considered the Phoenix Force. Now Misery, yes, because they're going to be destroying cards and you can bring them back, and you're not only getting the value, but they should also reproc the effect. No. Yes,
you should get the on reveals that come back just as Hela would, right? This is like a Hela Stealer is the best way to think about it. Now, I want you guys to know, Deadpool, though, and APOC aren't going to work to what I think. Because Deadpool, if I read the text, because I was thinking, I was getting excited. I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine taking their Deadpool? When this is destroyed, return it. So the way that it phrases it, like Deadpool obviously doesn't go to your graveyard. He's still alive. I have the finish up. But Deadpool goes to the graveyard, or never goes to the graveyard. Same as APOC. APOC never. APOC. It's think of it like Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider can't bring back APOC. It's the same deal. He's never truly discarded. He's never truly discarded. And so in my head, when this says resurrect your opponent's highest powered discarded or destroyed card, I just don't think APOC fits that mold. Or
you're right. Now that you say it, you're right, because you're thinking about I'm thinking about like the actual stack, right? Yeah. Like the way cards are played, and if it never enters the discard pile, it'll probably never get referenced by Fenris Wolf. And I wonder if, to the same degree, something like obviously Proxima Midnight won't get resurrected by Fenris Wolf because it's actually on the field of play and not in the discard pile. So that would reinforce the APOC. Yeah.
This is one of those that you just know they're probably going to reword, because like as a casual player, if I'm thinking, man, think about people are going to lose in rank climbing because they're like, oh, they just discarded that card, right? Like they discarded APOC. They're thinking they discarded the card. So that's where it's going to be confusing for a lot of people. I could be wrong. I think this is how it's going to work.
Dude, I just said that. I literally just said that as a point, right? So it's very easy to make that mistake. Like one might suggest that I'm speaking on a massive podcast for Marvel Snap, and I literally just made that mistake. Yep. So yes, there's going to be people out there that are very capable of making the same error.
And we've seen them kind of release text and then have to reword it. I think they just did that with Surtur because everyone was like, wait, what? You could do the 10 pack. We did a whole episode on him, and not knowing that you could boost a card to 10, or a card that goes and gets affected by a -1 doesn't count as a 10.
Yeah.
So that was a whole thing too. Let's go to discard though, knowing that, right? So discard, I think, is very interesting as well. And I actually think that this does more for discard in terms of offensive play and in terms of deck building than destroy. Destroy is a tech thing for me, whereas discard, I'm like, wow, there's some really, really fun options here. So the one that I want to kick it off with, outside of being a tech to some of the other stuff, is right off the bat, and listen, Silver Samurai slash Moon Knight. We could talk about both of them. I think they're both fair to talk about, right? These two cards, what a cool play style now, right? What a cool and interesting play style where you can attack with the Moon Knight. You can take an Iron Man, take a Knoll from their side, and then you resurrect that on your side. And Silver Samurai could actually be a decent card after this.
Yeah, Silver Samurai, I am not as high on with regards to its synergy. I can see it though. Like you hit the Iron Man, bringing that back. That Iron Man's absolutely clutch because you can even bring it back turn 3. You can bring it back right away before you discard other stuff, right? Because you're likely to have both Silver Samurai and Moon Knight. So that's the nice thing about deactivate. Whereas if you play Moon Knight on, Silver Samurai, on turn 3, you Zabu it out or whatever. I don't know why you do that, but let's just say you did. Yep. And then you would say, okay, I got their Iron Man. You activate Fenris, and then you play your Moon Knight, or then you play something else or whatever. Right? Or you can just keep playing it, and the benefit is going to be that you're always going to get the highest powered card, which is nice. Now with Moon Knight specifically, I am super excited for this, and the deck that I'm going to be going to on day 1 for testing is going to be a Moon Knight based discard deck. I'm going to be leaning towards like the Black Bolt Stature style decks 100%. That run all odd based cards, and then what you do is you run Proxima Midnight as your like even cost. So you play Moon Knight as 3 power, your Proxima gets discarded, and then you're hitting something in their hand. And so not only did you play a 3 power card, you're getting the Proxima down, you've disrupted their hand, and then you're able to Fenris what you've discarded from their hand. And there's a chance, obviously it could be a Wasp, but it could also be their Doomers, right?
Yeah.
So if you hit Dr. Doom, you're laughing, my friend, and they're probably retreating, so.
It's just like a new archetype. Like, I love the idea. I didn't bring him up in Destroyer because obviously I thought he fit a bit better here. But, like, with Gambit, clearly you're not discarding one of their cards. But I love that you're just randomly, at will, destroying something of theirs in this discard mold. So now all of a sudden you have a couple options, right? You have the Gambit play. And what's cool is that if Gambit hit a huge target and they've already discarded some stuff too, it doesn't matter. Like, you're able to just take that bigger target. The power swing potential, though, like you brought it up so well, is stature. The fact that you can essentially, like, this is the perfect scenario, but you play Fenris down, right? And then you Moon Knight, you get rid of their Dr. Doom, 6 cost. Boom. You bring them back, you got Dr. Doom on your side. Oh, and because they discarded a card, stature's a 1. The flip-flop there is so insane. That's just so much you taking the win from them. I love it. And I think that with Gambit and with her, we're getting a lot of cards that can start to kind of fit into this kind of package where you're not forced to have certain cards, which was always the thing I didn't love about Stature.
Yeah, and honestly, it's like a combo deck when you describe it, but you're playing things relatively on curve. Fenris on 2, Moon Knight on 3. You could play Silver Samurai on 4, Black Bolt 5, Stature plus whatever the heck else you have, right? And so, like, ultimately, like, it's just an immense amount of power, an immense amount of just like stuff coming down all of a sudden, disruption happening to their hand, and you've played on curve the entire time. And yeah, you got to draw into the cards and everything like that, but it's remarkable how much power you're able to put down, because like Moon Knight is literally discarding something from their hand, disrupting them. It could be activating the Proxima. So like, it's not just like, oh, you play a card, you get its power. It's like you're getting these multiple effects happening. And the difference between Fenris and something like a Phoenix Force is that Phoenix Force will randomly bring back something that needs to be resurrected, whereas Fenris is going to bring back the highest power. So the fact that it's selective in what it's bringing back allows you to like just throw out Gambit and hey, that's my baseline. Okay, yeah, I hit their Rock Slide, but when I throw down my Moon Knight, I might hit a 6-drop. I might hit something bigger, right? I might hit the Hulkling they have in their hand, because the one player in Marvel Snap is playing Hulkling, and you hit it out and then you bring it back with Fenris, right? So I think there is a lot of potential for those types of combo decks using discard. And you're right, it's like a whole new way of playing, very similar to the way that like Black Knight changed the way discard could be played. Yeah,
I think the other thing I like about this is if you go with Destroy as that option, there's going to be play lines that are awkward, right? So you play your Fenris down, or maybe, better yet, you don't get them yet, okay? And then you've got the cards in your hand, and you've got, like, the Killmonger. It's like, do you just, when you play that, do you want to wait for cards to get bigger? Do you try to hope you get Fenris? And then, it could be a little awkward, whereas, like, I just feel like the discard option is going to go just a bit more, like, you're just kind of doing what it does anyway, and then it kind of, if you get Fenris, it's the cherry on top. You get one extra play from it. and then it works out that much more. So I'm going to want to see how that all goes in. And then again, just like I talked about before, just like if a Venom were to eat something, Lady Sif, dude, Lady Sif all of a sudden becomes a super liability because you've got a card that used to be the guaranteed discarder of high-powered cards. Well, your opponent plays that now, and it's like, thank you. I appreciate you getting rid of the absolute best card that I can pull back here. And, I mean, that, to me, like, Fenris is a little bit, not a little bit, he's very obvious what you're trying to do. So the plays that I'm excited for is the Lady Sif on 3. You happen to get Fenris, you play him down, and now it's like, they're like, damn it, because you snap into that, right? It's not as obvious. You're snapping with that advantage because you just saw what got discarded. You play the Fenris down, you got to wait a turn to activate, but they're 9 times out of 10 going to be either playing Hela or something to bring that back. They won't have the chance to do that anymore. So I think discard is at a place where it kind of needs a soft counter now, and I do think Fenris is a good thing for that as well.
Yeah, and based on like what we know, then that would mean that Scorn would not be impacted by Fenris as well if APOC's not, right? So there's a lot of like resilience in that archetype for Fenris being used as a tech card, and yet it's being used offensively with that particular archetype as well. And when we talk about archetypes, if we're able to move on from discard, can I make a quick suggestion that I think that Mill might be legitimate here too? And I know that this might be a little copy, but let me hear me out here. Okay, you could do something like turn 1 Yondu, turn 2 Fenris Wolf. You could then turn 3 your Baron Zemo, bring something else, the lowest power card from their deck or lowest cost card or whatever, bring it back. And then you could like Grandmaster the Yondu and take an additional hit at their deck, and you're like thinning what's available, and eventually you're gonna hit like a 3 or 4 power card and then have something you can bring back with Fenris. It's a little bit of extra steps there, right? A little bit of extra steps. But I do think that there might be a mill approach to Fenris, which could be potentially interesting.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think mill is where a lot of people will lean into. I feel like mill is always the deck that I play for like content at first, and then I never go back to, right? Like I don't ever open up Snap and it's like, it's mill time. You know what I mean? Like that personally for me, but I do think it's going to fit into there. It's a bit more of the loose, kind of crazy build, but mill is so strong that I think it's got some real heat behind it, especially because Misery Mill, right? Wasn't that a thing for a while? Like you could even get that going, and hopefully, we're going to see a lot of Fenris out there, so I would say look out. But to be fair, before we move on in general or whatever, I do want to bring this up. Our next subject is talking about a ton of like cards off the heater, bro. It's making cards tough to pick right now. Like Fenris is a card that's so fun and could be really good, but with like a promising December, I think it's tough, man. I think it's tough to ultimately decide what to do here.
Yeah, like this is the kind of card that isn't like an archetype definer, right? Like it's definitely a wonderful support card. I think it's like it's a really cool design, but like let's say like if you're thinking about what Surtur is doing to the meta and what it was going to do, like straight up, like we knew that Surtur was going to create a new archetype. It was going to be a new way to play the game, generally speaking. Fenris doesn't do that. Right. And so while it could be a great support card, there are other great support cards that often don't make the cut. Like things like a Red Guardian, for instance. The card is great, but it's so easy to sub out if you don't have it. And if you are really short on tokens or you're short on keys, especially with this upcoming month, which we're going to be talking about shortly, it can be a hard sell on something like Fenris, which is very clearly a support card.
What I wanted to close with in the general play, we talked about this card having good synergy down the line. I think this could naturally be a Frigga card. Now, keep in mind what I just said. If you take a She-Hulk that you destroyed, the She-Hulk's gone. So you're not going to be able to get 2 She-Hulks if you have 2 Fenris Wolves. But the curve play here, I was like, that kind of works out. It kind of makes sense. I don't know what the deck looks like, but I do like Frigga and Destroy decks too. So I'm like, I wonder where this could work with a Killmonger and you get multiple ones down, or the Shang-Chi, or just the tech against their stuff. Do 2 Fenrises start to make sense in the builds that you can get together with Frigga? I don't know. Probably not, because it's a little awkward, but it is another 2 that curves well into this 3 that is Frigga.
You're right. And I'm wondering, because you'd have to have at least 2 destroy activations or discard activations to make it worth it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where you have the mill, where it's like 1 Yondu, 2 Fenris, 3 Frigga, and then 4, it's the other Fenris with the Grandmaster. Cozy, we did it! We did it. There's the curve.
And dot. Yeah, right, dude. You play the Shang-Chi in a Grandmaster, bro. Dude, double. Man, your opponent would be in shambles, man. If you go like Shang-Chi right lane, Grandmaster middle, you take out both their 10s and they all resurrect on the left.
I just realized something. If you were to Frigga the Fenris and you put 2 Fenris wolves in separate locations, do you know the old saying they can't Shang-Chi us everywhere? You play Shang-Chi, you Grandmaster it, you win that lane, it goes in the middle, you win that lane too, and then the 2 Fenrises bring back what you Shang-Chi. Like, obviously, that's a 1 in a million play. That's like Vipering over Destroyer, but also chef's kiss if it happens.
Just saying there's a chance on it. Altogether, I think the Fenris Wolf has a chance to be the best activate card. He's not up against a whole lot of competition there, but he does have the chance to be one of the better ones, especially because it is cheap. Now, on that note, we are going to do Rapid Fire. We're a few weeks away from talking about December anyway, but guys, we just had a once-in-a-lifetime thing, as stated by one of the devs. Because of the collaboration with Marvel Rivals, they've kept everything a secret for December. We've never seen this before, and because they kept that a secret, in turn, it had to keep the other seasons post this a secret. So, in Datamines, we had a slew of cards come out all at the same time, all with a lot of promise, and thank God, because we're able to save on this season. Looking forward to the next one. So we can say a few words on them. I do want to read what they do at the time. Things are subject to change, yada, yada. You guys know how it goes. But it is all about Marvel Rivals, which it's like 20 days away. For me personally, I announced it, I think, already on my main channel. My next journey, my next consecration. I've skipped out of pocket for a reason. This is where I'm going. Created channel, just got the first video out. And I'm just... It doesn't look like I've seen games that are lazy collabs. This does not look like even a small bit of a lazy collaboration. This was a very well done collaboration, and I'm pumped to talk about these cards.
Oh, dude, you're right. When I saw these announcements and stuff like that, and like the Datamines, I was like, you know what? So much effort when it's not only designing a lot of really cool cards, I think that are really neat and functionally very unique, but also the collaboration between the two, I think benefits both games. Marvel Snap has needed an injection of energy, and what else could be much more than exactly that than a brand new massive launch across all consoles, like free to play, everyone's favorite IP, and you have a card game that goes alongside it. And we haven't heard the announcement yet, but I'm hoping maybe you unlock a card playing Rivals or something like that. It's gotta go the other way too, right?
A cross thing. Yeah, so, and this isn't confirmed, but from what I read, like, people were like, why didn't Marvel Contest of Champions get a collab as another Marvel game? And the rumors were like, they didn't put enough effort in the collaboration, so Rivals ended up not wanting to deal with their side. I think it's really cool that Snap not only delivered, but they delivered to be the flagship. I mean, Fortnite's going to be big because it's Fortnite, but this is going to be, I think, a really big crossover event from people who play. And yeah, if you get the variant in, let's say, Snap, which they released all the art over to that, I mean, that's going to bring people from Rivals here. And potentially, if you get... I mean, there's a lot... We don't know anything about the collaboration outside of these cards. And so these are the ones that we're going to quickly break in. And what I like about Rivals, quickly, if you guys don't know anything about the game, is that they also dip into characters that are not as known. And I think it's really cool about Marvel Snap is it got people into the Jeff the Baby Land Sharks. And we kind of have the same thing going here with Rivals on some of it. And that leads us to our Season Pass card, buddy, in Galacta. Daughter of Galactus. Now, this is a 4/6. Each turn, the first card you play at another location reveals with +3 power. Alex, what do you think about it?
I mean, it seems like a pretty natural amount of just power, and it's each turn too. So you play this on curve, and then you're just getting its benefit over and over again. With Zabu comes out on turn 3, and then you're just dipping even deeper into the value. So yeah, no, this looks like a very solid card. Like I think it looks great, and I like the idea of a card designed in a way where, like, I think that relatively new players, like, it has a very wide application.
Yeah.
Because this is simply play good cards and you could win. You know what I mean? It's not like there's some cards that require a lot of like deck building consideration and synergy. Like even Agent Venom to some degree was like, well, you have to have specific cards like the Silver Sables and stuff like that that really elevated that archetype. But with this, play on curve, win the game.
And listen, I know Elsa's cheaper, but my God, just a spit on Elsa. Like, this is just such an easier thing to accomplish. You don't have to fill a location up. +3 power on any type of card. I love that it's not like just on reveal cards or whatever it is. It's just one card. And clearly, Daughter Galactus, this is meant to synergize. you know, the first card you play at another location reveals with +3 power. Well, guess what? Galactus going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to play. Clear synergy, cut and dry there. And you get to do it once a turn, so this goes up to 412 value. When these cards were leaked, man, it was a hell of a personal day, and I did it at like 4 a.m., so I whiffed. I'm so glad I re-talk about some of these because there's very minute things that we have to kind of dissect here, and this was one of them. Just working with Galactus, love to see it.
Yeah, and the fact that it reveals with +3 power would indicate to me that this could potentially be a card that, like, for instance, replaces Gwenpool in something like a Surfer deck, right? Because you play this on turn 4, which can sometimes be a little awkward for the Surfer decks. You play something like a Sarah on turn 5, and then you are able to play your Brood. And if it says reveals with +3 power, your Brood's going to reveal with +3 power, right? And then you're able to play everything else through, right? So I think that could be potentially very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Galactus, kind of the flagship character, the announcer of the game. I expected her to be pretty good. Luna Snow is another really popular character on the game that I did not know. A newer character in Marvel. I loved her as soon as I started being able to play her in Rivals, and I'm just a sucker for ice stuff and stuff with heroes and all that. But 3/5 here, on reveal, add an ice cube to each side of this location. And so it's kind of, this is a tricky card. It's a very weird card, Alex, because you're getting these ice cubes that I believe, I don't have it up right now, I think it's +1/+2 energy. Is it +1 energy when it's on the field?
Yeah, +1 energy.
And then it destroys when the location's full. You and your opponent are both getting it. So you're getting like a light clog kind of card, but you're able to get a new spin on ramp with potentially a lot of benefit from it if you play it at the right time in the right place. And so I think this is a very unique card, and I love ramp, so I think this will be fun.
It's kind of a really interesting approach to ramp. This one is like, okay, these symmetrical effects can often be kind of hard to like lean into, right? Because like if you're looking if you think about like Electro, if you both had +1 energy, and it's essentially Electro without the ongoing effect, right?
Yeah.
But what I think Luna Snow does really well is you could maybe play something like a White Widow prior and then have both of them blow up, which is kind of counterintuitive to a degree, but you are getting that ramp. Or with that extra energy that you've achieved on turn 4, because you've played this on turn 3, you can play like an Electra and just snipe it. Right? Or you play Killmonger and you'd wipe your own. So you'd probably play something like an Electra, right? You could snipe it with an Electra, hold on to that extra energy, and your opponent's only achieved it for 1 turn.
Yeah.
So it's definitely interesting. But like the ceiling on this card, I think some of the other ones I'm a little more excited about.
For sure. I think, again, I kind of wrote them out in order where I have them. And even though I love Luna Snow, I do like 3/5 as a stat line. Ultimately, it's going to be interesting to see where she lands and where she, if she ends up with these stats. Man, there's so many to talk about. I'm pumped. Like, there's some really good ones here. Let's go on to Penny Parker. Now, this is a character I think a lot of people are like, I wonder why they put this in the lineup with other iconic characters, but has grown on me. Obviously, Penny's really cool. 2/3 on reveal, add Spider SPDR to your hand. When this merges, you get +1 energy the next turn. And so this is a very interesting card. Essentially, when this okay, let's go to Spider, because I think this is a bit easier. But from the way that I'm reading this is a new way to ramp as well. So Spider here is a 3/3 on reveal, merge with one of your cards here. You can move that card next turn. Essentially, you're able just to get +1 at any point pretty easily. And I think people are wondering if that's going to work with the Hulkbuster and stuff. I think it does in a way, the +1 energy. But more importantly, Alex, getting a 3/3, just the pure stats, and then being able to move any card in the game is it's pretty nice. You probably use it on a low card, but I like it.
Listen, the ability to move is like very valuable. Like we've seen the access to locations being a strong suit for a number of cards, and this does exactly that. And the on reveal, not the on reveal, the merging effect is just kind of gravy on top of it. I actually see this working very well in something like a new take on move. Like you can consider something like a Human Torch into the Penny Parker into SP. Are we calling this Spider? Is that what this is, Spider? Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce this.
Spider, SPDR, yeah. Give it a Spider.
Yeah, and then of course you can merge with the card, you can move it, then you can do something like a beast, or you can toxin it. I think there's a lot of really interesting things that you can do with this card. It could potentially be very synergistic with something even like a Deadpool, right? Which is pretty interesting as well, because you can move the Deadpool destroy. You don't even have to move it, but you could if you wanted to. But you're right, like the way it works with like Hulkbuster and Agony, we're getting these like number of different like merging cards, but this by far is the most interesting of the bunch, I think.
Well, moving along, Alex, I made custom cards for a lot of them, but I didn't for some yet. But we have Doom 2099, and this is definitely one of the more hyped up characters. Just in Rivals, people are like, can we play Doom? He's the main villain of the Rival story. We don't know a ton about it, but damn, the design is so well done. Like, this design is the base model, the main design of the game. Go look it up. Fantastic art. I'm pumped I get to cover 2 games with like just second to none art. But yeah, Doom 2099. So if you play 1 card only, he's going to summon a random Doom bot to another location. And the Doom bots are going to be the exact same stat line, but these Doom bots are going to give +1 power to what it reads all other Doom bots and other Doctor Dooms. And so we officially have a Doctor Doom archetype now, which I think is so freaking insanely awesome. The power play here is insane. I think this is one of the best cards to come out the month.
Oh, this is by far the one I'm looking forward to the most. It literally opens up like a Doom Zoo scenario, right? And which is interesting. And the way it's worded, and again, because we're working with like Datamines and like we don't have official announcements yet, we don't actually have confirmation of the fact that Doom bots and Doom, like I'm talking about 6 power Doom, is actually going to work. But it's written in such a way that you'd assume that this Doctor Doom with these Doom bots 2099 are going to be synergistic with the 6-costed Doctor Doom with its Doom bots as well. That's the way the text reads, because it specifically says Doom and his Doom bots. And it's like, these are 2 versions of Doctor Doom, and you would assume that the Doombot 2099 is still a Doombot, right? So again, we're nitpicking wording here, but if it's working as we suggest or as we think, this card is wild, and it's 100% a card I need in my collection.
Oh, for sure. And it's interesting too, because like you can't do full Patriot synergy with it because the Doom bots have ongoing effects. And then the way that it would ramp, you're not going to really be able to do like a Doom and then an Onslaught or whatever. But there's a lot of fun potential here, and just the power explosion is extremely high. This is definitely one people have their eyes on. Next card up, we've got, in this one, oh my, I've seen a split decision, and I kind of get it. Bruce Banner, so obviously you've played the game, whenever you're playing the old, really well done how they did the Hulk. He hulks out, right? It's the classic, adaptation of the character. Now, I want to make sure I read this perfectly. When you end a turn with unspent energy, 25% chance to Hulk out, which we're assuming is just going to go right to that 12, or the Hulk that we know and love, right? This is both scary for this kind of game because of just the randomness, but B, I think that this card can be in any deck. I mean, good God, I think this is insane to me. I think this is a really strong card.
This will never be in any of my decks because that's actually a 0% chance to proc the effect. And my opponent on turn 3 will be getting this. Like, there's going to be a Hulk for free on turn 3 every single time. So yeah, it's going to tilt people out. This is, if the hulking out is what we think it is, which I agree with you. I believe it's turning into 6-costed 12 power Hulk. This is a wild amount of RNG that doesn't exist in Marvel Snap yet. Like straight up gambling. And 25% chance to turn into the 12 power from a 2-cost, right? Like basically a 2-costed 12 power. If you math it out, then you're like, yeah, okay, it's pretty good. Is it reliable? You got to float energy, keep in mind, right? So like you're playing off curve, and like obviously the high Evo style decks haven't been performing as great lately. But honestly, this is pretty interesting.
Well, I mean, in Airstream, it's a joke because you have all that extra energy. But also, if you look, man, I mean, look at Luna Snow, look at Spider-Bot that we just talked about. They give you +1 energy, so that's meant to synergize. Also, just playing this on 2 with the deck built around it by turn 6, in theory, statistic-wise, unless you're Alex, you should be getting this to Hulk out. All I know is Danger Room is not 25%. It's 100. And if it's that kind of luck, this card's going to be busted. I think this is a dangerous card. And this is our first crossover of character card, other than our next one, where we have the same character kind of twice.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw some comments of people kind of frustrated with that. I think that's okay. It's like, I don't want to bring up like a whole other game, but like Lorcana does this, where like there's multiple versions of Mickey and Minnie, and like there's different iterations of the same characters and different not different IPs, but in different movies and different stories. It's like, here's Mickey dressed as a warlock. Here's Mickey on a surfboard and stuff like that. So I think this is well-charted territory where like you can have individual characters, but in different timelines per se, right? And so, oh, look at this. Yep. Rocket, Raccoon, and Groot. Now, this is a cool idea. You get 2 cards and you just slam them together. If you were upset that we're getting Bruce Banner,
this is the one where I can understand. And I don't want them to lean into it too much. I will stand on that. I think it's like, if you got like 6 Spider-Mans, it's too much. But, good gosh, this was one of the cards I read, and I definitely did not read it the right way at first. I think this thing is pretty cool. 3/3, guys. You can move this once. After your opponent plays a card here, steal 1 power from it. So not only are you stealing power from a card, but it reads as, dude, essentially, you could play down, they could play a bunch of cards down, you can move it, and you're getting you're stealing all that power from consecutive cards, and you can move it. This is gonna have, dude, at a 3/3, this is a good card, bro.
It is a good card, and I like the way that like, because it moves and the way move resolves, they'll be sitting there being like, okay, do I want to play and have a card get its power stolen? Because it's location based, right? You can move and then kind of like intercept their card and steal its power. So if they try to dodge the Groot and Rocket Raccoon by playing into a different lane, you could like pick up on it, right? So I think the mind games are really interesting here. We know we love that, but also a really cool and interesting effect. I think it's a neat little effect there.
Well, that takes us from December and the beginning of January to the next season, the Dark Avengers. This is, oh my God. If like to go from Rivals and how excited I am for that. And guys, again, if you played Overwatch, you'll feel right at home. If you just like shooters and or like more, if you want to see a game do Marvel really well, then this is going to be it. Because Marvel, the art, the lore, the maps, they really pay attention to the comics. And listen, I'm really carefully selective when I decide what game to go into. And Rivals has earned my trust through and through. Cozy Rivals. Crazy channel name. Go check it out. I know, Alex, you plan on doing content for it as well.
I am, yeah. I'm looking forward to kind of diving into Marvel Rivals. They really are doing justice to the breadth of the IP. They've done their homework, they've done their research, and they've definitely crafted a very enjoyable, immersive experience. And I can't wait to get started, honestly. It's coming out, man, it's coming out only a couple of weeks now that I look at the clock.
Yeah, and I mean, like in Overwatch, like the characters, a new one comes, cool. You don't really know what they came up with the character. And this, it's like, dude, the potential, like, I think they just teased Wolverine, and then that Hulk is going to be able to throw Wolverine. I mean, just like, get out of here. It's so cool. What the heck? Anyway, let's go to the next season here. Dark Avengers, Victoria Hand is, I believe, the season pass card. 2 cost, 3 power card. This season was made for me, Alex. Actually, I'm sorry. It's not Victoria Hand. She's the first card. The Iron Patriot is the season pass one. We'll get to him next. Ongoing, though, for Victoria Hand, your cards created in your hand have +2 power. It's the season. It's the season of Agent Coulson. I don't know how to contain myself. It's like if they made an Arrow season. This card is awesome. I love this card, Alex.
This is the injection of power that the Shield archetype needed.
So bad.
And it's been a long time. It's been a long time, Cozy, since I've brought up Devil Dinosaur, and finally I get to do it. The Devil Dinosaur Agent Coulson style decks, man, they're going to love this. They're going to absolutely love this, because even if you get a bad card from Agent Coulson, there's a good chance that +2 power makes it better.
I mean, +2 as a board-wide effect as an ongoing. Think about the Blue Marvel effect. Is massive. I think this is the right way to do Airshim, by the way, where it's like these cards getting generated. They can't be played early, but they can get more power as they continue. This, to me, unlocks easily a deck that I'll be playing. When people ask what's my comfort deck, it will be this kind of deck style of creation, because that's what I used to play. I've been looking to play it. It's been tough to play it. But you combine that with the season pass card, Iron Patriot. Strap up. 2 cost, 3 power card, Iron Patriot on reveal. God, this is so fun. Add a random 4, 5, or 6 cost card to your hand. If you're winning here after next turn, you give it -4 cost. So you essentially make the 4 cost free, the 5-1, 6-2. 2 things, Alex. 1, this looks so good. And 2, I want them to make that last line on more cards. I love the battle, the duel effect of trying to win a location.
No, I agree. I mean, that macro side of these cards, like it's one of the reasons why I love Nebula. It's like you look at the face of the card and think, okay, yeah, it does a thing, but also it's always doing something else to your opponent. And this here, it's like kind of like that Asgard location where you're like, okay, hold on, we're gonna go hard on this, right? Or even the one that kind of, I can't even remember the name of the one that spawns a rock to the person who's losing. You're like, is it worth just eating a rock here? You know, I just want to play. This is like, oh, they played Iron Patriot. I need to contest this. I absolutely need to contest this, because if they have a two-costed 6-costed card, and they remember, it's not like Valentina. There's no like, oh, negative 3 power. No, there's nothing. It's just there. You gotta compete. You gotta fight for that location. So this is a very powerful, extremely effective mind game card.
Plus with Victoria Hand, it's gonna be boosted up. Plus the way I look at it is like, I mean, this gives Agent 13 life, Victoria Hand and her. A card you would never think, Maria Hill, and
Mirage.
You're gonna and you're gonna have to back up this lane. But if you know what you're doing and you're playing on one, you know, a Maria Hill, then you just know to play Iron Patriot into that location too. You know, you build into that. Now, obviously, when that's everywhere, people are going to start contesting it more. But I think this has, man, this a 5-cost card that's a 1. Give me any of them outside of Kang, and I'm pretty. In fact, even Kang, bro, I'll take it, man.
Just say, what's wrong with Kang? What are we doing here?
I mean, out of our options, I guess, you know, out of the options, I would probably rather have other people. Let's move on though. We're gonna keep going, and we keep going to some. Man, every card's good, dude. Every card's good. Let's go to Bullseye, guys. Check out this card. 4 cost, 5 power. Activate. Discard all cards that cost 1 or less from your hand. And then you flick that many enemy cards with -2 power. Yo, what? Like, this seems so good. This seems so needed and so well. Like, you can fit this into a bunch of different decks and ways.
This is my pick for it doesn't get released like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think this is the call of like, oh, you remember when Bullseye was this in the Snapchat? Well, it's been changed and it's now way more boring. There is no way. There's no way this card comes out like this, because it is so unbelievably cracked. Literally machine gun discard. Like I can, oh man, it is so well statted, dude. And I think that it's relatively easy to pull off. Like, it is so good, especially with the activate line too. Like, this is where activate really shines, because you can set up your hand. You can set up the state. They have to set up their board, and then boom, punished.
I'm curious if it does make it because of activate, because 4 and 5 are the only 2 turns you could play it. That's it. Because 6, it's dead. So we've seen those cards be difficult to land. But if it lands, it's like, yeah, it's so good. It's so good. I mean, you could build this with like you could build this into so many different decks that just end up like swarms, man. Just like you MODOK, you get all those swarms, like finally you get like 90 swarms in your hand, and then you activate this thing, and it's just like unleash, man. It's such a fun. It is. It's a Gambit. It's a new form of Gambit, and everybody knows Gambit, if anything, is a very fun card. That one's going to be top of the list. And this is what I'm talking about with Fenris Wolf. It's going to be so hard to decide what cards to get right now because of all these really cool ones down the line and how hard it is to get damn currency in this game. Next up, let's go to Ares. And I think this one's a lot of fun and just screams good statted. 4/6 on reveal. You compare the power of the top 3 cards of both decks. If your total is higher, +6. I believe it's going to show you the value of each side, so you get a little bit of intel too on your deck and their deck. I think that's really cool. And this is a 12 power card potentially.
This is interesting because I'd like to see how it's actually implemented, because if it's like a Magic the Gathering scry effect where you get to actually see what you're going to draw and you see what they're going to draw.
I don't think you do, but it's close.
Yeah, I'm just saying though, like that would be very cracked, because then suddenly you can say, okay, hold on, now there's Jubilee synergy, right? It's like, so there's a different way to like kind of think about how this is going to play. But if you don't see those things and you just straight up see the numbers, I still think it's a pretty cool card. And I like how it's a progressive change on Gladiator. It's like they've kind of taken Gladiator. If we made Gladiator a 4 cost with a slightly different effect, but also kind of doing the same thing, what's it look like? Yeah. I like it a lot. I think it's cool flavor.
And 12 power.
4/12?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Like, just 12 power, and keep in mind, you're going to be able to build your deck to probably win against your opponent. You know, like, I think for the most part. And I think it gives those top index even better. Scar decks, obviously synergy there. Ares is probably one of the more calmer cards, if you will. This next card, Alex, this is my pick if I just don't think it releases like this. I think this is my favorite card of the month. And I don't know how I say that with Iron Patriot. Moonstone. 4/5, guys. Ongoing has the ongoing effects of all of your 1, 2s, and 3 costs. I don't know. I don't know, man. This seems what? Like Patriots, Mystiques. I mean, go and look at all of them. There's plenty of good ongoing cards with 1, 2, and 3. How what?
I know. It's one of those cards that when I read, I'm like, man, this card is cracked, but I need time to like sit down and really think about like, how can I make these locations so incredibly perfect for Moonstone to just propel the rest of the game. I'm like, okay, I need to make a Spectrum deck, which is like,
Spectrum
okay,
at
how
the
do I
very
make
least is
Spectrum
good.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that, right? So like, I think this card is amazing, but it's like, I need more time to just brew with it. I need to sit with it. I think this might be one of the most cracked cards they've released in a while.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And like, again, it's like, yeah, people might be like, well, Super Scroll was hyped up and then he didn't land. You get agency. You get to decide what cards are there. That's what makes it so crazy.
Right.
And you can play it at any time because it's an ongoing. And you can onslaught it, which is so funny to me. This
is way better than Super Scroll. Like it's not even close,
a
really.
billion times better. This
also 3 more power.
It kicks the crap out of Super Scroll. Like, there's no way that they keep Super Scroll the way he is after this. At least I don't think they can, right? Like, yeah, the Moonstone scares me. Now, the next 2 cards, we don't know how they're coming. I think it's going to be like limited time game modes. Gorgon is essentially a Airship counter and a counter to all the cards coming out that season. We've been seeing this.
Hand too, yeah.
Yeah, Fenris is the kind of way to get rid of Surtur and all of he does. Ongoing, your opponent's cards that didn't start in their deck cost 1 more. Welcome to Airship counter, my man.
I mean, this is kind of necessary. It's a good release valve for these types of things. I still think the Airship counter is residing in like the Cassandra Novas and stuff like that, like the power that they simply just can't deal with. But this also very effectively deals with that. And more importantly, if Victoria Hand just launches the shield style archetype, which it could very well do.
Should, yeah.
Gorgon's a very good counteraction to that. But also Victoria Hand has the issue of like, okay, well, you can also Red Guardian it, you can rogue it. There's other things you can do to it. But Gorgon represents that tech catch-all, which I think is missing in the game right now for this particular effect.
Not to mention with Black Widow, this card's cracked. You make
that's probably why they had to change to an activate. They essentially slowed down Black Widow by an entire turn, right?
That was my thought. It looks kind of crazy in that regard. Lastly, we have a card that I think is they're very careful. They're very, very careful on drawing cards. Toxidoxy. Toxidoxy. On reveal, draw a card. You can't play cards next turn. 2/4. What do you think?
I'm not sure I like this. Like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, can't play cards next turn. Like, do you often want to skip turn 3? I'm trying to think about like archetypes that want to skip turn 3. I don't know, man. I mean, it is a 2/4 stat line. You are drawing a card, but Crystal just got buffed.
This seems to me like a free card. Like, you know, like,
I don't. Yeah,
but also
because we're less excited, this will be the free one.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so first you do have synergy with War Machine and Jeff and stuff like War Machine doesn't care about this, which I like as a late play. But then you get too cute and complicated because the way you would want to play this in combo decks, period, like just like where you don't care what happens, you just want to play late. So I think there is like a Gambit Hazmat thing where you're like really guaranteeing that you curve into this better. But yeah, I mean, obviously not being able to play is pretty bad, So I want to see how this does end up. But Jeff, War Machine, there's some synergy there at least.
Yeah, maybe it goes into decks with like Bruce Banner. Because obviously you're going to be skipping turn 3. You got Sunspot on the board. Yeah. He hulks out. You draw a card. You know what I mean? Easy dubs. Yep. Draw into Doom 2099. You know what I mean?
Clearly, we've got a stacked couple of seasons, bro. Stacked. We'll talk about December more when it comes. Rivals when it comes. But guys, we had to talk about these to tell you that they're coming because we need to get the word out so that you guys don't just spin everything this season and whatnot. Maybe you already did, but to try not to, I guess. Let's lastly end. We'll quick fire this, given the time a bit. But it was the Sized OTA. Sized OTA. And Alex, if you take a look quickly, I'm gonna rapid fire a bit here. But we had we'll talk about the cards that were adjusted more. If that makes sense. But Jessica Jones gets a +1 to her on reveal, making her a 4/10. We have Destroyer getting +2 power. Winter Soldier getting a power point. Valentina getting a power reduction on her on reveal as well. And then we have Heimdall and Crystal going up. That's it for the buffs outside of Black Widow and Thanos that we'll talk about. Any notes on those ones quickly, though?
These were all ones that just make perfect sense.
Yeah.
This feels like all those changes are like, hey, guys, we've been power creeping like crazy. What are cards that see absolutely no play that we could probably buff that won't ruin the meta while we're like gone for a month or whatever it is? Like, because I guess, well, you guys have Black Friday, you guys have Thanksgiving coming up. I think that's where the OTA schedule falls on, and that's probably why they had to do a bigger patch now. Our Thanksgiving was a while ago, but. So like this makes perfect sense. If you're gonna buff cards, don't ruin the meta. Buff cards that aren't seeing a lot of play. Couple safe shots out there. If Jessica Jones is like the top Reddit comment for the next 2 weeks, then okay, maybe we needed a little bit of something different. You know what I mean? There's no way these cards are gonna shatter the meta. Crystal going to a 3/4, interesting because I have coped myself into playing Crystal every once in a while. It's never done well. Like this, I'm not saying I'm proud of this. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying I did it.
It's happened.
So I can definitely see the buff there. But yeah, all these buffs seemed very safe.
So yeah, and they're all like relatively easier cards to get. And then we had Thanos, who effectively got way better with the draw mechanic. Dude, it just feels like way more reliable. It's
crazy how insane Thanos, like that change to Thanos is massive. It's absolutely massive. And it's kind of crazy because right now, where are you seeing Thanos? You're seeing it with Arishem. Because now it starts in the hand. You have the extra energy from Arishem. So you've increased the reliability of being able to throw down power. Like you're able to play out like Thanos on turn 5, turn 4. Like if you play, you know what I mean? It's so crazy how much better Thanos is as a whole. And I just hope that like he doesn't get just thrown into Arishem. And I will say that now with this change, Arishem, the top performing versions of Arishem, aren't even running Loki because they're running Thanos now. They don't need Loki. So like now Loki's just like, well, I guess I'm homeless. You know what I mean? Bring back old Loki while we're at it.
Also worth mentioning, they said they do want to buff the stones. They didn't want to do it before the break because then they could release chaos. I get that. Black Widow got a nerf, went from on reveal because people were misery and grandmastering it. Now it's an activate. We both talked about this and we were like, yeah, like what are the to me, if this was a 2 cost, I think it would have flavored fit a bit better.
You know what? Probably. I think that Black Widow, you got to be very careful with.
Yeah.
And we also just showed the card the ongoing, was it Gorgon? Was it? Yeah. So like you play that on turn 2 and then old on reveal turn 3 Black Widow would have sent that in and the Widow's Kiss or Widow's Bite, would have been 1 costed. So it would have been impactful from an actual curve perspective. And I think probably that would have been very annoying. So by making it into an activate, it delays that impact until turn 4. But what I will say is like, I think you're right. Where Black Widow was seeing the most play was when it was in those Misery and the Phoenix Force decks. Because you would Misery the Black Widow and then you would Phoenix Force it and just continuously prevent them from drawing. So those decks, I think, were just starting to creep up. And I bet you they had some internal statistics that even though the popularity wasn't there, they're like, nope, this can't happen. We don't like this. You know what I mean? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, the buff side was very unique. Black Widow, I guess, could be in the nerf. So we kept it in there because they said it as that. But, I mean, the nerf side, man, Surtur, Scar, fastest nerf we've ever seen to a season pass card. Agent Venom, go to 2/5. Down to +3 for every card. Sable down to power point. Shadow King down to power point. Give me some quick notes on those.
So first of all, I think that it sends a really important message that they're willing to nerf a season pass card this quickly. It's the fastest we've ever seen. But also, I think like respectfully, I think this is it's a little bit of showmanship. Because even if Surtur released at 3/2, it's probably still a good card. It's like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like we saw it at 3/5 and we're like 5-star card, this card's cracked. And we joked about even we were low, giving it 5 stars saying it was gonna be cracked because it was insane. So like moving it to 3/4, it still procs the Scar, right? It still gets to the Scar kind of reduction in cost. But when you take a look at those decks, you took a power off Surtur, you took a power off Scar, and the win rates actually did come down. So you don't think that 2 power is significant when something is going absolutely buck wild, but the statistics have indicated that this nerf has impacted the win rates.
I mean, you got rid of my Lamborghini, you gave me a Porsche. How dare you? Yeah, I mean, that's the best way. And of course, you're gonna get people mad about it, but hey, like, it's fine. It's still a good card, guys. Don't worry about it.
You know what you just reminded me of? It's so funny that you said that. In my head, I just pictured, I'm just here in my garage with my 3/4 Surtur.
Yeah, dude, that is if you know, you know. Age of Venom. Yeah. To wrap up, I think this is fine, but also 2/5, What's going on? No drawback.
Yeah, they didn't need to be
What are
2-5.
they
Come
doing?
on now, man. That's like we need to nerf this card,
Sorry, the
but
plus
also,
3
and
is
we don't
fine.
want to piss anyone off.
Yeah, exactly. That one I felt like they were being a bit too safe on. Lizard, dude, what was the line you said all the time? What do they say when they nerf Lizard? What was the line?
They said Lizard, the change to the Lizard, they said this is the least consequential nerf in like Snap's history or something along
that
those
sounds
lines.
so
I might be
dumb.
making it more extravagant,
And
but
now you have
they
a
were like,
2-5.
this is a nothing nerf. Card never saw play again. And I called it. We called it on the Snapchat. We're like, this nerf is going to kill this card. And Lizard
Bad.
rip.
Bad.
Yeah.
Now we have a 2-5 with a positive effect. Makes no sense. Power creep. Sometimes you're like, I don't know, is power crept badly here.
But
Massively.
technically, if what's his name, Giganto's in your deck, then you know Agent Venom ruins it. But
Yeah, the
if you're
Orca
building a
Giganto
deck
decks
with
go down.
Giganto and Agent Venom, then you've had a couple of extra brewskis in the morning. So
My Orca Giganta deck brew is in shambles. Well, guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's little bit of a longer episode. We had a lot to talk about with Fenris. I think that was the section that went wrong because it's an interesting card. Long, because it's an interesting card. However, we are talking about a lot over on Alex's side. If you want to hear about how he will fit into the tech card meta, we're going to talk about all the best tech cards right now, and it might shock you a bit. Also, Malekith, a lot of good cards coming out. Does Malekith warrant enough for you to grab him? And then the Snapchat mailbag with some questions towards myself. Can't wait. All right, guys, have a good one. Have a great one. To the next one. Happy snapping.